Coaches, what's the most reckless decision you've ever seen a colleague make? The call came at 4:17 p.m., just as I was pulling into the driveway. My phone buzzed against the steering wheel, and I fumbled for it, expecting my wife or maybe a wrong number. But the voice on the other end was unmistakable, deep, clipped, the kind of tone that made it sound like he was doing you a favor just by speaking. Just a heads up, practice ran a little long today. That was it. No apology, no explanation, just a casual dismissal like he was telling me the vending machine was out of Gatorade. My stomach twisted. Practice never ran long. Reynolds was a stickler for schedules. I sat in the car for a full minute, staring at the house. Then the front door creaked open, and there she was, my daughter, her shoulders hunched, her swim bag slung over one arm. She didn't even look up, just shuffled inside, her sneakers scuffing against the hardwood. And that's when I smelled it. Not the usual chlorine cling, but something harsher, like bleach, thicker, sharper. My nose wrinkled. Jesus, what is that? She finally lifted her head, and that's when I saw her arms. Blisters. White, angry welts forming in perfect, puckered rings. Her wrists were the worst, raised, glistening, as if the flesh itself was rejecting whatever had touched it. I didn't think. I just moved. Pulled her into the kitchen, sat her down at the table, and made her tell me everything. And as she spoke, the picture came together piece by piece, worse and worse. The second they'd walked into the natatorium, the air had been thick with hospital-grade chlorine. A quiet girl named Mia had dipped her fingers in the water and yelped. Reynolds had barely glanced up. Stop whining, he'd said. Another kid, a sophomore with allergies, had rubbed his eyes and muttered that they felt like they were on fire just standing near the pool. Reynolds' response? He'd blown his whistle. Pain is temporary. Weakness is forever. Then he'd ordered them in. My daughter's voice dropped to a whisper. It hurt immediately, Dad. Like needles. By the 2-minute mark, it felt like she'd been dunked in acid. Half the team was sobbing, clutching their arms. But Reynolds just kept pacing the deck, barking drills. Faster. Turns. Move. Like they were just being lazy. Mia was the first to break. She hauled herself out after 5 minutes because she literally couldn't see. That's when Reynolds lost it. He stormed over, his face red, his voice a snarl. Get back in or you're done. Next meet? Bench. Next season? Cut. His words hung in the air, heavy as the chlorine fumes. And it worked. Every other kid, including my daughter, stayed in that poison for the full hour. I was seeing red, not just at Reynolds, but at myself. For not being there. For not knowing. For trusting that the system would protect her. Then I noticed the blisters on her wrists were spreading, creeping up her forearms like some kind of slow-motion wildfire. My pulse roared in my ears. I grabbed my phone, snapped photos from every angle, the flash making her flinch. We're going to the ER. Now. She didn't argue, just nodded, her face pale, her hands shaking. The ER nurse took one look at her and her jaw dropped. She didn't even ask questions, just turned on her heel and barked, triage, now. The doctor came in, his expression grim. This isn't irritation, he said. This is chemical burns from extreme chlorine exposure. He shook his head. At these levels, they're lucky no one's lungs are fried. This pool should have been evacuated the second someone complained. I pulled out my phone and called the school athletic director. His voice was cheerful at first. Hey, coach, what's up? Then confused, wait, what do you mean, chemical burns? And then, as I sent him the photos, horrified, there was a long silence. Then, a shaky exhale. Oh, God, the sensor. Turns out, the pool's chlorine sensor had been broken for weeks. Reynolds had just been eyeballing it. And that day, the levels were off the charts enough to strip paint, let alone skin. By the next morning, Reynolds was suspended. The pool was shut down for a full chemical flush. And Mia? She got her spot on the relay team back, along with a public apology in front of the whole squad. Reynolds standing there with his arms crossed, his face a mask of humiliation as she told her story. The lesson? Blind loyalty to toughness doesn't make winners. It makes victims. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is be the one to say, this isn't right, even if it costs you the race.